Bienvenidos to Humans in Accounting, the podcast where we pause the AI buzz for a minute and focus on the real humans behind the numbers. We chat with founders and leaders to hear their journey, what drives them, and the important things in life. Because behind every balance sheet, there's a story worth telling. Humans in Accounting is brought to you by South Offices. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Humans in Accounting, where leaders share their story behind the spreadsheets. As you know, I'm Alex Roman. I'm the host of this podcast. It's brought to you by South Offices, connecting accounting talent across borders. Today's guest, I'm really happy to have Jaime Rodríguez. I'll say it in Spanish. Jaime Rodríguez, CEO and owner of Bookkeepers.com, the best domain in the internet probably, and also the founder of Paralledger and author of Beyond the Books. Jaime, I'm so happy just to have you here at Humans in Accounting. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me, Alex. It's been a long time waiting. I've been wanting to jump on with you.
I'm happy that we finally doing this. We met over a year now. Yes, I remember exactly the place where I actually walk to you and say, hey, Jaime, I'm Alex. You just made this pitch. And I remember, I'll tell the audience and all the listeners in the future watching in YouTube or Apple or Spotify, you were in BKX last year. You were announced there as the CEO. And at some point you made this, you talk. And I remember you made this analogy. I don't know if you remember, about football. So I went and I said, hey, I'm Argentinian. That was a great analogy. And we started talking. This was over a year ago.
Yeah. I remember the exact analogy because it was all about a team sport, playing as a team versus, in soccer or football, there's 11 players on the field. One player, you can have the best player on the field and there's only so much they can do, right?
Exactly. You know what? Actually, now I just recorded on this last episode. I talked with Casey, and we talked specifically about sports, and we talked about this, like the difference between like a sport where again you're with a team, as you said, with soccer. And then if you compare that with tennis, maybe when you're playing singles and it's just you, and if you make a mistake, it's you. Anyways, I'll let you know when we put that episode live, and obviously when we put this one. And I'm so happy just to have you here. Let's do something. Tell me a little bit, Jaime, about your background, how you ended up writing a book, becoming the CEO of bookkeepers.com. Tell me everything. I want to know.
Yeah. So it all started because I was stuck working a regular 9 to 5 job. I had no life. So my job, I say 9 to 5 because that's the saying. I really worked from 9 to 6. In the mornings, it was about an hour and 15 hour commute. And so I would go to the gym in the morning around 5 a.m. I'd leave my house around 7:30, go to work, and then to drive back after I left at 6. And that's, again, assuming I would leave at 6. Sometimes I'd leave a little later. It was usually an hour and a half back at least to get back.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, I hate interrupting, but I have to ask you. You said you went to the gym at 5 a.m.
Yeah,
5
I
a.m.
did.
Was it a gym that it was open 24 hours?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a 24-hour gym. And in fact, at that point, I still am a health nut, but at that point, I could not miss a day. Like, I was there Christmas Day, Thanksgiving
Whoa.
Day, I would be there. But yeah.
Okay.
So I had no life. So I would get home at like 7:30, 8 p.m., eat, go to sleep. I did that for almost 3 years. And I said, I was like, there's no way. Growing up, I guess I'll take a step back. Growing up, I always thought I would get a job right out of college, work there for 20 years, retire, and live happily ever after.
Okay.
2 years in, I was like, there's no way I can do this. Like, this is just not reality. Like, this is awful. And so I was working at a law firm as a bookkeeper, and I was grateful for the job, but I was just like, this is not for me. So I shared an office with somebody at that point, and that person said, hey, you know what? I know somebody that has a bookkeeping business and they do really well for themselves. You should consider doing something like that. I had never even thought, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, I knew I was a bookkeeper for that law firm,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, this is a full time job. I'm working for one person. How is it possible to take 10 clients or hundreds of clients at once? And the more I looked into it, I thought about, like, okay, is this possible? And I realized with my job, I loved my job. I loved the bookkeeping side of my job. I hated everything else that came with it. So I realized some of the stuff that I was doing was HR. I was hiring, firing, ordering supplies. I mean, I was doing everything. And I was like, this isn't really the job of the bookkeeper. That's why
Right.
it feels like it's a full-time job to just have one client. And so I looked into it. I started Googling, like, hey, how can somebody teach me how to start a business? I knew the debits and credits, I knew the accounting. I went to school for it, but I didn't know how to be a business owner. And I literally Googled how to start a bookkeeping business.
Mm-hmm.
And it, I think it was like the first thing that popped up was bookkeepers.com. At that time, we were called Bookkeeper Launch. And
Okay.
I looked it up, and I did some research on it. Ben Robinson, the founder, was the instructor. I took it. And what's funny is, as much as I thought I knew about accounting, I had to rewire everything. I had to relearn things because I learned bad habits, shortcuts that I probably shouldn't be doing. And I just learned how to be a much better bookkeeper. But more importantly, I learned how to be a business owner. So I learned how to market myself. I learned so much I learned how to have so much more confidence in speaking when it comes to speaking with financials, to be able to actually interpret them and being able to meet with a client and say, this is why you don't have any money.
Right.
This is why you're making a bunch of money, right? This is your winner. This is why you're kicking butt. So it's been able to help me in my journey and just like everything, and being a not just an entrepreneur or a bookkeeper, but overall developing and being a better person in general.
Okay, perfect. And but you found Ben Robinson like when you founded your own firm, like in day one, or after just working a few years, you just
Yeah, yeah.
Google. Yeah.
That's a great question, Alex. You're the first person that asked me that, because normally it kind of just gets combined into one big story. So funny that you asked that. It didn't happen that way. I had the office mate that told me to start a bookkeeper, that I should do it. And so what I first did is, okay, I know how to start an LLC in Texas. I opened an LLC. I came up with the business name, Paralledger. Before, we didn't have AI then. If we did, it wasn't accessible to the public. So I was like, how can I combine a bunch of words? And I thought of the word parallel, like working parallel with a client, and then the word ledger, combined them, created the business. And then I go to GoDaddy, I buy the domain, super cheap domain because the word Paraledger doesn't exist.
Right.
I think I paid like $10 for like the first 2 years. So it was perfect. I bought the website. I created a website using GoDaddy. It was awful, but it was such an ugly website, but it was my website, so I loved it. And I essentially, that was my business. I started the business, and I said, okay, I have a business. Let's go. Like, when do the clients start flowing into my website?
Right. Right. Now what? Right. Where's my first client?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly, exactly. So I'm like, my website's open. I'm waiting for somebody to go click it, schedule a consult with me, and I'm just sitting there waiting, right? Obviously, that didn't happen. That
Okay.
was me being naive, thinking that's somehow that would happen. So I thought, okay, how do I get clients? How does this happen? So what I ended up doing, I saved enough money. At this point, I'm 27 years old. I saved enough money to live for 3 months without any income. I pulled my 401k out. I
Okay.
sold my drum set. I did
Okay.
everything that I could to have some money.
But you have, sorry, but you have your website working with your LLC with no clients.
No clients. Yep. And so I saved enough money from my job to live 3 months without any income. And I moved out and lived to move back with my parents as a 27-year-old
Okay.
to make some to be able to save even more money, right? So I moved back in, and about a month or so in, I was reaching out to clients or potential clients. I would literally go to the website. So if you, I wanted to work with attorneys. So let's say, Alex, you were an attorney. I'd go to your website, and normally your website as an attorney has like a fillable form. Usually they're looking for clients to fill that out. I would fill it out and say, hey, sorry, I'm not looking for your services, but I'm a bookkeeper. If you're interested,
I'd love
come to
to work
me.
with you.
Yes. That resulted in zero responses. I didn't even
Okay.
get a no. I didn't get a get out of here. I got nothing. And so I was like, okay, this isn't working. So about a month in, that's when I Googled like how do I do this? How can I actually build this? Because I quit my job. I had no other, like, there was no going back to that, right? Like I had to make this work. So I Googled it. And then at that point it's a big investment when you don't have any income, right? And I got it. And then it's set up as a 90-day plan when you go through the course. And I think within 30 days I got my first client. It was,
Whoa.
yeah, it was incredible. So it was just by using my own resources, like using my connections. Working with a law firm, I was able to make a lot of connections with other attorneys. It was a very big law firm, like probably about, they normally have like somewhere around 20 attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of turnover because a lot of the attorneys that they have were fresh out of college, like they had just gotten sworn in and become an attorney. And so their business model was, we get attorneys that are entry level, and once they get to a point where we're priced out, we can't pay them anymore, they move on and go to another law firm. That's just how that was just the business model. Incredible for me, because what that means is those 2.5 years that I worked there, I got to meet so many attorneys. And so what I did, one of the advices that we got through the course was reach out to everybody in your network and just say, I'm starting a bookkeeping business, and let me know if there's anything I can help you with. I did that, and to my surprise, one person that I used to work with at that law firm said, hey, I just opened my law firm. I'm a solo practitioner. I have one person working for me. I started 2 months ago. I don't know what to do with my books. That's still a client of mine. That was in 2017. They're still my client today. In fact, we were just discussing how, like, I met with him a couple of days ago, and we were just discussing where we were in 2017 versus where we are now, because seeing his business grow is amazing too, right? But that's how I got my first client.
Whoa, incredible, incredible. And yeah, this was so definitely it helped you Googling how to get that first
It's
client
changed my life.
and yeah, yeah, yeah. But hold on, I'm missing another part because now when I introduce you, Jaime, the first thing I said is that you are now the CEO and owner of bookkeepers.com. How did that happen? Tell me that
Yeah.
part.
So what's awesome about bookkeepers.com was meeting Ben, right, the founder. I got to meet with him in person at a conference, actually. And to me, I was like the new kid on the block. I'm like, he's a celebrity. I'm some guy that just bought his course, and I want to meet him. And now to become his friend, and like he's not only a friend, but I've always seen him as a mentor. Anytime that I make decisions in my business, whether it's in bookkeepers.com or my bookkeeping business, if there's a significant change that could happen, I use him as a friend and as an advisor. And so we became really good friends. And well, the business got to the point in 2023 that when we
Hmm.
met at that conference, um,
Yes.
either 23 or 24, I don't remember. But we
Yeah,
Ben had
23.
told, okay, so about 6 months prior, Ben came to me and said, like, hey, you've been working with us for a while now. I kind of see you as the face of the company, because I'm at the point where I'm an instructor there at the with the course. Would this interest you if you were to take on the role as the CEO? And I said, interested, for sure interested, but not if that means you're completely out of the picture. Like I need to have an advisor. I need to have my mentor, right? And he's like, "Oh yeah, of course, like I'll still be around." And working with bookkeepers.com has been the most rewarding than anything. I think I realized pretty quickly that I love this more than doing the actual bookkeeping, because being able to teach somebody the business, being able to talk to people that have never had any experience in bookkeeping or accounting, and they jump in and they seeing them understand the language, understanding financial statements, getting their first client and seeing them change their lives, that's the most rewarding thing you can get. Like I just don't get that from being a bookkeeper. So I decided this is the position that I wanted to move forward with, is accepting this as a CEO. Ben decided to retire, and then a year later sold the company to me, and we've I've had the company for a couple of months now, and I often get the question like, "Hey, how's your role changed since you've been the owner?" And truthfully, it hasn't changed a lot because we've been doing a lot of it, you know, since last year. The only difference is that it's a little. I do feel way more weight on my shoulders now versus just being the CEO, because as a CEO, I'm just an employee, right?
Right.
So I feel like it's definitely much more weight on my shoulders.
Whoa. Incredible story. I don't want to forget about this. I'm pretty sure that you are aware now here in Humans in Accounting. I'm passionate about many things. One of those things is eating good food, and I don't want to forget about this question. And then we go back, because I have a few more follow-up questions that I want to ask you, Jaime. Let's change subject
Yeah, yeah.
dramatically, and I'm going to ask you a simple, direct question that I've been asking to all my guests here in Humans in Accounting. Jaime, what's your
My favorite food of all time. So, can I ask you to clarify? Because there's two answers that I can give.
you can ask me to clarify, and I will. So yeah, what do you want me to clarify?
When you ask, like, what's my favorite food? Are you asking generic? Like, I can say pizza, tacos, burritos, or are you asking for a specific place? Like, there's a place on the corner of the street here that has the best tacos. Is that what you're looking for, or are you looking for more
No,
general?
no, no, no. I'm asking generic, but then if you want to tell me after you answer that generic question, if you know the place where you can actually get that best thing that you're gonna mention now, please
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
me also.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So my favorite food is pizza. I mean,
Whoa.
I cannot stop eating pizza. I could probably eat two whole pizzas by myself. I'm not talking two slices. Like once I start eating, I cannot stop eating them. I am obsessed with it. I'll give you a quick story. My wife is the same way. I don't know how I found somebody like me, but I did. So for like a few years for Valentine's Day, instead of going to a very nice romantic place, we would go to CC's buffet where they have like
Okay.
unlimited pizza, all you can eat pizza. And that's where we went. And there we are with a bunch of kids just eating our pizza.
Okay, perfect. But I now I want to ask you like a couple of questions. First, like what kind of pizza? What kind of pizza are you referring to? And then, since you asked me just to clarify, because you were wondering if you wanted just to give me like a specific
Yeah, yeah.
place, now I also want to ask you for that place, since you
Okay.
opened that.
That can of worms. Yeah.
Exactly.
So the as far as what pizza, pepperoni, just a classic pepperoni, and
Okay.
I like a thin crust. I don't really like. I do eat like Chicago style, but it's not my preference. But the thinner, the
Okay.
better.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. And
The
you.
perfect place to. So it's not pizza. So the thing about pizza, I love pizza so much that there's no such thing as bad pizza for me. I'll eat bad pizza and I think it's good pizza. Now, breakfast tacos, there's a place back where I grew up, by far the best breakfast tacos. It's a little place called Fat Boys, and
Okay.
it is so good. However, if you want the perfect taco, you go there to get the taco, and then you go to another place down the street called Jovi's Tamales, and they
Okay.
have the best hot sauce. So you get the taco at Fat Boys, you get the hot sauce at Jovi's, and you combine it, and you have the best breakfast taco that you've ever had in your life.
Okay, perfect. But where I want to know where should I go? I mean, I need just to book a plane and
Oh yeah,
tell
yeah.
where am I going?
So
Where is this?
it's about 60 miles south of Houston. It's a very small town where I grew up in Lake Jackson, Texas.
Late Jackson.
Lake Jackson, yeah, it's very very small. Alex, don't fly to get to Lake Jackson. You're going to be very disappointed.
No, I don't know, but maybe someone is watching this
Yes,
podcast episode and is driving in Lake Jackson and he never knew this place.
good call. Yeah.
You, sir, go to this place. All right, Jaime is
Oh yeah.
saying perfect. Thank you so much. I'm impressed. Incredibly. I don't know. I'm gonna probably in the next I don't know in the next few weeks. I'm gonna give like an updated version of the ranking so far. And pizza, it's definitely on top. Incredibly.
I bet a lot of people have said pizza, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So, well, perfect. Thank you, Jaime, for answering me that question. And now I'm gonna go back to this
Wait,
other.
do we know your favorite food, or are you saving that for some other future episode?
No, I already said that, so I guess I can say it. I'm an Argentinian. I need to say asado. Asado, it's it's kind of like a barbecue that we have here in Argentina. The thing is, we have it like with family and friends. And if you go to an asado on a Saturday or Sunday, usually you're gonna stay there for 5 or 6 hours. So it's the whole experience
Wow.
plus the
Yeah,
meat.
yeah.
It's really good. So yeah, I think it's asado. My answer.
Oh yeah.
Jaime, let me ask you. I want to go back to bookkeepers.com, and I'm going to give you something that you probably already know, or maybe you don't. This is a fact. Bookkeepers.com, it's the only website in accounting that has three double letters consecutives. You know
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
yes.
knew
It's
that.
the only word in the English language that has three consecutive double letters. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you knew that. I thought that I was gonna put something there for the first time. Okay, perfect. And I also learned something new the other day, which I'm also gonna share. And maybe we can talk about this for 1 second. Wyoming and Colorado are the only two states that are like perfect rectangles.
Yeah.
Why do I know this? Is because I just looked in Google Maps and I don't know how did that happen because they're perfect rectangles. How did they put the I don't know.
I think they should all be like that, right? Like they would make everything so much easier if they're just perfect rectangles all across.
Yeah, but when they decided just to like separate each state, how they did it, like it's I'm pretty sure there are mountains and lakes and
Yeah,
stuff. Like they say, I don't really care. Let's go straight.
it's a straight line. Yeah. It
Sorry,
looks
yeah.
very goofy in a map.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, one just wanted just to share those two things that I recently learned. And now, yes, let's go back to bookkeepers.com. How many? I was looking at your website. Do you know how many courses do you
Oh, not off the top of my head, no.
because
It's
there
probably over 10 courses. Mm, it's somewhere
yeah.
in that ballpark, 10 to 15 probably.
Right. And who do you think is because you gave this like how this helped you, but who's like your the best client for bookkeepers.com? Is it like someone who was in the same situation where you're at right now, who someone who started his bookkeeping firm and want to learn, someone who wants just to scale the business? Tell me like yeah, who's the ideal client for you? Maybe I'm sure someone's watching and they want to reach out and they want to say, hey, should I reach out or not?
Yeah, yeah. So we have two kind of big platforms, or two verticals, I should say. So, like, one vertical is we teach people how to start a bookkeeping business. So,
Okay.
who is our ideal student? Somebody that wants to change their life, somebody that wants to someone that says, hey, I'm tired of doing this job. I want to start a business. Do you have to have a bookkeeping account experience? Not at all. As I mentioned earlier, I came with experience. I would be lying if I said it didn't help me in some form. However, it came with challenges because I came in already with some knowledge. Like I said, I had to relearn some things. So our ideal student is either somebody with experience that maybe just doesn't know how to start a business, like where I was, or somebody who has no experience whatsoever and they want to learn the skill of bookkeeping. And that's where we sell Bookkeeper Launch. So that's one vertical. The other vertical we have is through the Digital Bookkeeper Association, the DBA, and that's actually the DBAs who put on the BKX conference that we were putting on.
Okay.
For the DBA, that's for people that are already established. It's an organization, right? It's an association that you come in, so that way you can say you're part of a professional association as a bookkeeper. We can give you certify that you are a bookkeeper. We can give you a badge. We also have an online directory in there, and we have bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks we have like continuing education courses where either I'm there teaching something. It's rarely me by myself. What I like to do is bring in an expert. I believe we've had you guys on at South Offices, right? Because we've had people that are members that say, hey, we want to offshore, nearshore, or I want to hire a virtual assistant or a bookkeeper. And they're like, I don't know if I should hire locally. I don't know what I should do. So I reached out to you and I said, Alex, we have this need. Can you present as an expert in this field? And so every 2 weeks we have stuff like that, anything from offshoring, nearshoring, marketing, tax prep, everything. So every 2 weeks we cover one specific subject that can help you with your business. That's meant for those that already have a business, though.
Okay. Perfect. Well, that's great. Let me ask you, just to wrap up the episode. I'm really happy that we made this happen. I mean, I have like so many other questions, but one question that I don't want to miss, and that I really enjoy asking all the guests, basically because I've been learning a lot, is what's a good advice? Let's say, yeah, what's a good advice that you can give someone starting their own business besides visiting bookkeepers.com? But what's a good advice that, yeah, you can give people watching this in the future? Or what's a good advice that maybe someone could have given you, I don't know, 10 years ago when you were starting your own business? That's
Yeah.
something I want to know.
Yeah. So my advice would be don't do it alone. Like whether you come to somewhere like bookkeepers.com and join our community is great. There's other communities out there. There's free communities. You can just go to Facebook and search bookkeeping business owners. You'll find other groups already. They're not going to be as good as ours.
Hmm.
I'm kidding, but there's a lot of really good groups. There's a lot of good resources out there already. So don't try to do this on your own. I thought I could do this on my own. I went in, like I mentioned, I bought my website, bought my domain, and I tried to create this, and I was like, okay, doors are open. And what I didn't realize is how much I could still learn from others, and learning from people that have done it already, that have 1, 3 clients. And then once you get there, you learn from those that have 10, 15 clients. And you're always wanting to have a community where you can go to, a community where there's people of all stages in their business that you can learn from. And not only that, but a community that's willing to teach also. And I think that's the hardest part to find, is to find somebody that doesn't see you as as competition, but sees you as somebody that they want to build up and help as well.
That's great. That's great. And I can validate what you're saying. I'm pretty sure that I told you this when we met over a year ago at BKX. I felt that, I'm usually traveling to different events. Well, now we saw each other almost now 2 months ago, a month and a half, scaling new heights. But I usually go to different events in the States. And that's what I felt when I went just to this last one that you guys made, BKX. That feeling of community. I mean, I was, talking with people, and everyone said, yeah, sure. If not, you can talk with my friend, my colleague. They're going to help you with this or with that. Oh, that's interesting. And you can see that vibe. So definitely, I guess that you guys have been doing a great job just to accomplish that. So,
Yeah.
so
Thank you.
that's great. And this is also an advice that it's not only for accounting. If you're starting any kind of business, obviously being part of a community, that's obviously gonna help. Last one, what are the plans for the future? How you will be finishing this year and next year? Do you have events planning,
Yeah.
something coming?
Yeah. So as far as like the bookkeepers.com goes with the course, the next big thing that we launched already and are continuing to try to perfect is the being able to help bookkeepers and accountants with the use of AI. AI is such a buzzword. Everybody has an app that uses AI. It almost doesn't matter how much the AI is actually being used, as long as you can say it's AI. It's a buzzword and people want it.
Right.
We've created a community throughout bookkeepers.com as a membership where we're creating our own agents and we're trying to help people as well use this. I love the name of your podcast. It's Humans in Accounting, because robots and AI are trying to take over, but in reality, if you're in the space, you know it's far away from it. We're nowhere
Absolutely.
near that actually happening, and we want to be able to teach bookkeepers and accountants how to use these tools for their advantage. And so we've launched that membership, and we want to continue to grow that throughout this next year, throughout this last quarter of the year. And then a big event coming up next year. We are partnering with Universal Accounting, and we are going to be at GrowCon, the conference in May. I think it's
Mhm.
on May 4th, which is I don't know if you know this. It's that's Star Wars Day here. May the 4th be with you.
I'm kind of ashamed just to say this and this podcast that it's recorded, but you know what? I've never seen Star Wars.
Oh man, wow. So, yeah, you're gonna get shamed for sure. But I love
Yeah,
Star
I
Wars.
know.
But I'll tell you what, I didn't watch it till I was like 23. I think was the when I so I was already old too. I was like, I had college roommates, and they're like, "Wait a second, you never seen it?" And I was like, "We have to watch all of them right now." And
Right.
yeah. So, anyways, we'll be at GrowCon May 4th. There's tickets still available if you guys want to join us. Anybody that wants to join, it's going to be a great event where we'll see bookkeepers, accountants, tax preparers, CFOs, and a little bit of everything.
Perfect. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do my best to see if I can go. That'll be great. Last one, people watching in the future now, they really want just to reach out to you. What's the best way to contact you?
So you could, I guess, Facebook, LinkedIn would be the best. I'm very open on Facebook. In fact, most of my Facebook feed is, if you want to just nerd out with me on Facebook and see me post articles I've read, things I like about in the industry, that's where you're going to find me. The stuff on LinkedIn I is normally just copied from Facebook. So either of those is the best way to contact.
Right. And if not, guys, you can just visit directly bookkeepers.com and reach out. Jaime, it was a pleasure. I'm really happy that we made this episode together. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I'm glad I was able to jump on finally. And yeah, we'll have to do this again.
Absolutely. And thank you, Jaime. See you, everyone, on the next episode of Humans in Accounting. Bye bye.